The washer stops halfway through a load, and your first thought is the cost of a service call. Before you touch a plug, breaker, or wet hose, stop and look at the room. A safe first check has 3 gates. Gate 1 tells you when to stop. Gate 2 keeps you inside the exact owner manual. Gate 3 tells you when to hand the machine to qualified service. The answer is not a secret repair, but a disciplined way to separate a normal condition or an accessible outside problem from a service fault. That distinction is this episode's promise, built from 1937 CARE rules and current exact manual safety guidance. Near the end, I will lay the 1937 CARE sheet beside a current model family manual and show you exactly where history ends and current safety begins. You may still need service, but you will know why you stopped, what you checked, and what you can report. I am Walt, 68 years old, retired after 40 years around micrometers and lathes in Northeast Ohio. On my basement workbench sits a worn green ledger covering the storytelling years 1931 through 1939. That ledger is a fictional frame for this channel. The historical weight comes from named public documents you can read for yourself. For this entry, I opened United States Department of Agriculture Farmers Bulletin 1497, Methods and Equipment for Home Laundering. It first appeared in June 1926, and the edition on my bench was revised in October 1937. The bulletin covered planning, equipment, supplies, and laundering methods rather than a generic breakdown repair. Its plainest rule was to study the directions supplied for the particular machine. It also told a buyer to think about available service, extra parts, and ease of repair before purchase. That is a hard-headed rule from an era when a machine might use a cylinder, a vacuum cup, or an agitator. A 1972 Library of Congress interview records one woman remembering that her widowed mother took in washing and that she helped. That is one recollection, not a national measure. The same interviewee later said machines made work and life easier than when she was raised. By the end of this video, you will have a 3-gate record you can use before a service call without opening the cabinet or pretending every washer behaves alike. A machinist can get in trouble by believing every machine wants to be investigated. I spent 40 years learning that a measurement without the right drawing can be worse than no measurement at all. Your washer manual is the drawing for this job. The current example in my research is General Electric Manual 49-3,300,373 Revision 1 for the GTW 465 family. That long number matters because its 2-minute reset, 5-year hose recommendation, and less than 8-foot drain limit belong to that model family. They are examples, never universal washer rules. The same manual says sensing spins, some pauses, free basket movement, and some movement at the agitator top can be normal on that design. A pause that looks like failure on one machine may be expected operation on another. Current program numbers need the same discipline. Energy Star says the average American family washes about 300 loads a year. It says certified washers use about 20% less energy and about 30% less water than regular washers. Those are program comparisons, not a promise for your house or a reason by themselves to replace a working machine. A current electricity rate alone cannot tell you what one washer costs to run. The disciplined owner identifies the machine, reads the right document, and refuses to turn a broad statistic into a private guarantee. Here is the method in order. First, stay on dry ground and look for stop signs before you reach toward any control. Water on or near electrical equipment ends the household check. A damaged cord or plug ends operation. Burning odor, smoke, sparking, or shock means leave the hazard area and obtain qualified help. Unexpected movement or a lid or door interlock that seems defeated also ends the check. Never bypass that safety feature. An active leak you cannot isolate from a dry location belongs to qualified help. If you are standing in water or touching wet equipment, do not reach for a plug, switch, or panel. Leave the wet area and follow local emergency or utility guidance from a safe place. Second, record the model and serial, then check the Consumer Product Safety Commission and the manufacturer for recalls. A November 4, 2016 recall covered 34 Samsung models and about 2.8 million units. The reported hazard was a top that could detach during use and create an impact injury risk. An affected machine follows the recall remedy, which may involve manufacturer repair, replacement-related rebate, or refund under the recall terms. Third, open the exact owner manual to its before service section. For the GTW 465 example, owner checks include a secure plug and a working outlet from a dry place, both water faucets on, the lid closed, start pressed, and the ordinary house breaker or fuse check. The manual also distinguishes normal sensing and pauses from defects. If the manual does not list your proposed action, the action does not enter this household procedure. The old documents did not treat care as a heroic rescue after failure. They put routine use, maker directions, safe disconnection, and service planning in front of improvisation. Farmer's Bulletin 1497 warned that frequent repairs and high operating cost could outweigh a slightly lower purchase price. It gave no typical repair bill and no promised savings. A September 24, 1937 press sheet warned that injured gears could make repairs very costly. Again, it printed no price and no failure rate. By June 12, 1940, another department broadcast used 4 cents per kilowatt hour as an example assumption and 2 washer hours a week to reach no more than a dime a month. That was conditional arithmetic in one broadcast, not a national rate or a typical washer bill. The same broadcast said an automatic drain pump could add $5 or $10 to the purchase price. That amount priced a feature, never a repair. The sources do not prove why this order of operations faded. I only know my own temptation to open a search box, a parts cart, or a replacement advertisement before I identify the exact model and read its manual. It is not conspiracy. It is arithmetic. To my eye, products and payments arrive too early when I skip careful diagnosis. The honest countermeasure is smaller. Write down what the machine did, what the exact manual calls normal, which dry outside checks it assigns to you, and where the handoff begins. If you're thinking this only works for people with a farm and a root cellar, stay with me. This next part is for the house you live in right now. Take 1 sheet of paper and make 3 columns. Column 1 is identity. Copy the model and serial exactly from the machine label without moving the washer into an unsafe position. Use those identifiers for a recall search at the Consumer Product Safety Commission and the manufacturer. Column 2 is the symptom in plain words. Write stopped, leaked outside, did not fill, did not drain, paused, moved unexpectedly, or made a new odor. Do not diagnose a motor, pump, valve, lock, or wire from the sound alone. Column 3 is the exact manual page and the owner action it actually names. For the GTW 465 family, a dry accessible look may include external inlet and drain hoses. For the water inlet hoses, leaks, wear, cuts, corrosion, or bulges mean immediate replacement under the manual's installation guidance or qualified help. Rubbing, kinks, and a washer sitting on the drain hose are separate external conditions. The same model family manual tells the owner to correct as directed. The same manual points to hose connections, rubber washers, drain hose placement, and household drainage when an external leak appears. A clogged household drain may require a plumber. For low flow, that model manual describes shutting off water and cleaning accessible inlet screens as directed. That is model specific and requires the exact instructions. For excessive suds, it says to use less detergent and high-efficiency detergent. For incorrect water temperature, it says to verify both supplies and the hot and cold connections. For a drain problem, it names a kinked accessible hose and a model-specific outlet limit of less than 8 feet above the floor. That 8-foot number does not belong to every washer. The honesty rule is simple. This process does not fix an internal fault, guarantee a saved bill, or prove that a pause is harmless. It fails as a household check the moment water and electricity cannot be separated safely. It stops for a damaged cord or plug, burning odor, smoke, sparks, shock, unexpected movement, defeated interlock, missing parts, or a recall instruction. It stops before cabinet opening or work on wiring, a motor, a pump, a valve, or a lock. Pressing start does not disconnect power on the current General Electric example. Before a permitted service step, that manual says to unplug the appliance or turn off the circuit breaker. There is no energized work in this episode. There is no cabinet opening, no historical chemical, cord repair, or generic oiling advice carries into this procedure. Current action comes from your exact manual, recall notice, applicable code, and qualified professional. The Consumer Product Safety Commission staff checklist from July 2008 recommends checking household electrical products every 6 months and testing ground fault outlets monthly according to manufacturer instructions. That staff document says it was not reviewed or approved by the Commission and may not reflect Commission views. It says damaged cord should be replaced or the equipment replaced, and electrical equipment should stay dry and away from leaks and spills. Electrical system and code questions belong to qualified personnel. The Depression household system is in the description below. At grampusledger.com, it has 74 printable pages, 30 food stretching recipes, 52 Saturday actions, and reusable household worksheets. It is $17 once with no subscription. The United States Department of Agriculture bulletins remain free public archive sources. The paid system is separate original work, not paid access to those public documents. Now stay right here, because what comes next is the entry I built this whole video around. The page under my work lamp is United States Department of Agriculture Press Service Sheet number 193. Its title is To Get the Best Results from a Washing Machine, and it is dated September 24, 1937. You can read it free at the Internet Archive under the item name to get Best Results 1937 unit. The sheet said each manufacturer supplied directions for that particular make. It warned that overloading was hard on clothes and machine. It said water above the marked line caused excessive splashing and, in many cases, noticeably impaired efficiency. That qualifier matters. The sheet historically advised rinsing, draining, and drying after use. It described a lid opening of 1 or 2 inches for air circulation on the machines of its period. That position is not a rule for every current washer. For the current General Electric GTW 465 family example, the manual says leaving the lid open after washing allows moisture to evaporate. Your own manual controls the exact position and procedure. The 1937 sheet also told owners to remove the plug when work was finished and protect the cord from moisture and dirt. It called oiling or adjusting while connected to current dangerous. A March 10, 1938 department radio script described electrical insulation, enclosed moving parts, wringer releases, and a spinner cover interlock as safety devices. It said to stop the motor and turn off current before adjustment or oiling. A July 10, 1939 broadcast again placed manufacturer directions first. That broadcast also mentioned temporary cord tape, oxalic acid, ammonia, and kerosene in period care. None of those are current instructions in this video. Now place those historical pages beside the current General Electric manual. For repair or servicing, the modern manual permits only procedures it specifically recommends and that the reader understands and is skilled to perform. It warns against operating a damaged, malfunctioning, partly disassembled machine or one with missing or broken parts. It warns that certain internal parts can pose shock risk during service and names the motor, lid lock, water valves, drain pump, and recirculation pump for service personnel. Its included owner procedures may be performed by a user, while other servicing generally belongs to qualified service personnel. Improper servicing can cause unsafe operation. That is the continuity between the 1937 sheet and this current model family manual. Those historical pages put maker-specific directions first. Today, your exact owner manual controls because washer designs and procedures vary. Today, recall status, the present machine's interlocks and grounding requirements, exact model behavior, and the manual's internal shock warnings control what you do. My father wrote things down so he did not have to guess. The real archives give us the same discipline without pretending his fictional page is evidence. Stop, identify, read, check only what is assigned to you, and hand off the rest. There is a quiet satisfaction in ending a check before curiosity turns into damage. You may discover that a sensing pause is normal on your exact model. You may find an accessible kink, a closed faucet, too many suds, a household drain problem, or a recall instruction. You may also reach the service boundary with a clean record and no false confidence. Any one of those outcomes is better than guessing inside an energized cabinet. If this helped, write only the decade when your family got its first washing machine. 1 decade is enough. I read every one. Next time, what does a real 1930s boot care source actually say? And does any of it fit modern material-specific leather guidance without a 20-year or penny cost promise? This is not a channel. It is a family ledger, reopened, one entry at a time. Subscribe if you want to join the recovery, and next time bring your oldest pair of work boots and your questions.